Who's afraid of opera? In our third episode, I would like to touch briefly on the opera stories. Every great opera that has withstood the test of time has not only had great memorable music, but has also had a great storyline. There are a few operas that immediately come to mind, such as Verdi's La Traviata, which originally was from the novel and later play written by Alexandre Dumas Fils. Gounod's Faust, originally from the pen of Goethe. Mozart and Rossini's comic Figaro operas from the play written by Pierre Beaumarchais, and of course several operas were written using the plays of William Shakespeare, Othello, Macbeth, and Falstaff. In the early days of opera, composers like Monteverdi, who was one of the earliest opera composers whose works are still performed today, turned to some of the oldest stories from Greek and Roman mythology. This idea of mythology was carried even into the 19th century and later. I would like to note the great operas of Richard Wagner's The Ring Cycle and Tristan und Isolde. The Baroque fascination with the ancient world did not stop with myth and legends. Stories from the history books found their way into the opera stage. Composers from Monteverdi's Incoronazione di Poppea, a story involving the brutal Emperor Nero, to Handel's Julius Caesar, and Mozart's La Clemenza di Tito drew from ancient history. Comic operas tended to be more relaxed, involving more modern-day characters, borrowed from the Commedia dell'arte. Of course, opera composers have set classic literature from such great authors as Victor Hugo, who was the source for Rigoletto, La Gioconda, and Ernani, and Pushkin, who inspired Boris Godunov, Eugene Onegin, and the Queen of Spades. In the late 19th century, a new medium form came to light known as verismo, or realism, meaning true. This was a post-romantic operatic tradition associated with Italian composers such as Mascagni's Cavalleria Rusticana, Leoncavallo's I Pagliacci, and of course Giacomo Puccini. These short, hard-hitting operas were often violent, telling stories that were true to life. Today, contemporary literature is still inspiring operas. The Met in New York has just commissioned an opera based on George Saunders' Lincoln in the Bardo, 2017, and a few years ago, an opera was commissioned on a short story called Brokeback Mountain, also a famous movie of 2005, which premiered in 2014. In this episode, I have chosen Giacomo Puccini's Tosca for several reasons. In the late 19th century, La Tosca, written by Victorian Sardou, was considered a hit play. If this play was written today, it would have most likely been on Broadway and would have been up for a Tony and may have even won. La Tosca would also have been made into a movie like so many modern plays today. La Tosca was first performed on November 24, 1887 at the Théâtre de la Porte Saint-Martin in Paris, with Sarah Bernhardt as Tosca. This play became one of Sardou's most successful plays and was toured by Sarah Bernhardt throughout the world. Actually, the play may have been written for Sarah. Puccini had seen the play as early as 1889 and wrote about it to his publisher Ricordi. It is known that Verdi was interested in the subject. In 1896, Puccini once again became interested in writing an opera on Tosca. Although another composer by the name of Franchetti was prepared to write an opera on the same subject, Giacomo, through his publisher, was able to procure the rights to the play from Franchetti. Because of Puccini's star power, he was able to apply pressure to get what he wanted. What makes the opera so special is Puccini's drive to be historically accurate, right down to the ringing of the bells in Rome. Act 1 takes place in the church called Sant'Andrea della Valle. Act 2, the Palazzo Farnese, and Act 3, the Castel Sant'Angelo, all historic sites in Rome. A special note, this was Boheme's production from 1995. All three major singers went on to illustrious careers. The great Mark Delavan, star baritone at the Metropolitan Opera and around the world. Stephanie Friede, star soprano throughout the major opera houses in Europe. And Antonio Nagore, star tenor throughout the U.S. and Metropolitan Opera. Act 1. The Church of Sant'Andrea della Valle, noon. Angelotti, an escaped political prisoner, takes refuge inside the church of Sant'Andrea della Valle. As he finds a place to hide, a sacristan appears, followed by the painter Mario Caravadossi. Caravadossi is working on a picture of Mary Magdalene, inspired by Angelotti's sister, Marchesa Attavanti. Recondita Armonia.
Dammi colori.
When the sacristan leaves, Angelotti emerges from his hiding place. Cavaradossi recognizes him and promises to help, but tells him to hide when his lover, the opera singer Flaudia Tosca, arrives. She is furious that Caravadossi's painting of the Madonna is a portrait of another woman. Once Tosca has gone, Angelotti reappears. A cannon is heard, signaling that the police have discovered Angelotti's escape, and he and Cavaradossi flee to the painter's house. Quell'occhio al mondo, duet.
di la Madonna.
The sacristan returns, followed by clerics and choir boys, celebrating rumors of Napoleon's defeat at the Battle of Marengo. The general excitement is cut short by the entrance of Scarpia, chief of police, on the trail of Angelotti. When Tosca arrives looking for Cavaradossi, Scarpia plays upon her distrust of the Marchesa Attavanti in the hopes of discovering Angelotti's hiding place. With her jealousy inflamed, Tosca leaves in a rage, and Scarpia orders his men to follow her in the hopes she will lead him to the fugitive. A Te Deum of thanksgiving begins, and Scarpia declares that he will bend Tosca to his will. Te Deum.
Respiri, una carrozza, presto, seguila dovunque vada, non visto, provvedi.
Sta bene, il convegno.
Palazzo Farnese. Va, Tosca, nel tuo cuor s'annida Scarpia. Scarpia che scioglie vuole fare
Act 2, Scarpia's apartment in the Palazzo Farnese, evening time. In his apartment above the Farnese Palace, Scarpia anticipates the pleasure of having Tosca in his power. Having not been able to find Angelotti, Scarpia's henchman, Spoletta, arrives at the apartment with news that they have instead brought Cavaradossi in for questioning. Scarpia aria a più forte sapore.
Tosca è un buon palco, certo a quest'oria miei segugi le due predi azzannano. Doman sul palco vedrà l'Aurora Angelotti e il bel Mario lascia pendere. Tosca è a palazzo, ciambella ne si a furore in traccia. Tu attenderai la Tosca in sull'entrata, le dirai ch'io l'aspetto finita la cantata. O meglio, questo biglietto ella verrà per amor del suo Mario, per amor del suo Mario al piacer mio s'arrenderà. Profondi amori e la profonda miseria, a più forte sapore non conquista violenta nel mellifluo consenso. Io di sospiri e di lattiginosi al melunare poco ma pago, non so trarre a corni di chitarra e oroscopo di fior, né farlocchio di pesce o tubar come tortora. La cosa bramata perseguo, me ne sazio e via l'accetto. Col tuo nome esca, Dio creò diverse realtà in diversi. Io voglio star quanta più possa nell'opera divina.
Interrogated by Scarpia, Cavaradossi denies any knowledge of Angelotti and is taken away to be tortured. When Tosca arrives, Scarpia begins interrogating her, using Cavaradossi's screams to torment her. Under this duress, Tosca finally reveals the hiding place. Cavaradossi is brought back in, badly hurt and hardly conscious. He's furious to find that Tosca has given Scarpia Angelotti's location. But at that moment, news arrives that the report of a royal victory at Marengo was incorrect and that Napoleon has in fact won. When he shouts in defiance to the news, Scarpia orders Caravadossi's execution. Alone with Scarpia, Tosca begs for her lover's life, and Scarpia names his price. She must give herself to him. Seeing no alternative, she agrees, and Scarpia appears to order Spoleta to perform merely a sham execution. Aria Tosca Visidarte. Once Scarpia has granted safe conduct for Tosca and Caravadossi to escape from Rome, Tosca stabs him to death, just as he demands payment from her. Act 3, The Battlements of Castel Sant'Angelo, the hour before dawn. Cavaradossi enters to await his execution. He tries to write a letter of farewell to Tosca and reflects on the joy she has brought him. Tenor aria, E lucevan le stelle. Tosca arrives and discloses her plan for their escape. The firing squad duly performs what Tosca believes to be a mock execution. She realizes too late that Scarpia has deceived her. The execution was real and Cavaradossi is dead. News of Scarpia's murder has broken. As Spoleta and his men rush to arrest Tosca, she leaps over the parapet to her death. Act 3, finale of Tosca.
Su, Mario, Mario, su presto andiamo, su, Mario,
I hope you enjoyed our Tosca segment of Who's Afraid of Opera. Stay tuned for our next segment in October, La Traviata.